Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go, this is Valley News Live at noon.
House Republicans have released their report on the U.S. consulate attack in Benghazi, Libya. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Christine Stanwood. The report is critical of the Obama administration's response during and after the attack. Mark Albert is on Capitol Hill with more details.
Was someone you helped?
After 2 years, 107 interviews, and more than $7 million, the House Select Committee on Benghazi has released its final report into the deaths of 4 Americans, including U.S. Ambassador to Libya, Chris Stevens.
No U.S. military asset was ever deployed to Benghazi despite the order of the Secretary of Defense.
The Republican-written 800-page report also found the administration was politically motivated to cite an internet video as a cause for the attacks and not terrorism. The State Department and Secretary Clinton failed to provide better security for the Benghazi consulate, leaving it vulnerable. And members of the Obama administration stonewalled the congressional investigation.
I believe that the government failed its people and lied to the public in the aftermath.
The report is critical of then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, but Republicans on the committee insist she was not the focus.
Speaker Boehner asked me to find out what happened to 4 of our fellow citizens, and I believe that that is what I have done.
Democrats say the investigation's purpose was aimed at derailing Clinton's presidential campaign. In a statement, the Clinton campaign said, quote, "This committee's chief goal is to politicize the deaths of 4 brave Americans." Perhaps the most lasting impact of the committee's investigation was the revelation that Secretary Clinton used a private email server during her time at the State Department. Mark Albert for CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The Benghazi report also lists 25 recommendations aimed at strengthening security for American personnel serving overseas. New for you at noon, a 41-year-old man is dead after rolling his car and hitting a tree. It happened sometime today on Highway 73 near Watford City. Officials don't know when the crash happened, but believe the driver tried to correct his steering, which caused him to lose control. The man's name has not been released. He was ejected from the car. A Ulen, Minnesota man is being treated for his injuries at this hour following a crash near Ulen. The Clay County Sheriff's Office identifies the victim as Dylan Smith. He's 34. Investigators say Smith's car left a county road around 5 this morning, sheared off a power pole, and went into the ditch. Smith was ejected and thrown 30 to 40 feet. We don't know yet how seriously he's injured, but he was life-flighted to Sanford in Fargo. Investigators believe alcohol was a factor in the crash. A 19-year-old North Dakota man will serve time in prison after facing 45 criminal charges that included theft, burglary, and drug possession. Jade Sunheim was sentenced yesterday and will serve 4 years in prison. He will then face 3 years of probation. Now, during an investigation, Williston police found a detailed list of stolen items, complete with serial numbers, payo sheets, and a list of cars to rob. If Sunheim breaks probation, he could face as many as 5 more years in prison. An autopsy is being performed on the body of a man who was found hanging from a tree in Lindenwood Park last night. Police were called around 8 p.m. to an area near 5th Street South and the I-94 underpass. Investigators don't believe there was any foul play and say there is no threat to the public. The man's name will be released once the family is notified. A local man may be using an app called Whisper to inappropriately talk to underage girls in the area. Fargo police are investigating after getting a cyber tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. According to court documents, the suspect was trying to find girls ages 10 to 13, telling one girl, quote, "I love really young girls." Local police put the anonymous app Whisper on the top 5 most dangerous app list. Now, if you're worried your children may be using apps you don't want them to, there are apps you can download to restrict what they're doing. And it's a nice day in the valley, and it feels a little bit warmer than yesterday. So let's check in with meteorologist Robert Hahn for our current conditions. Robert?
Yeah, after getting off to a chilly start, we're warming up nicely with mostly sunny skies and some light winds. We bottomed out in the 40s in most locations. Bemidji, 39 degrees earlier this morning. We're about 30 degrees better than that across the board. 69 degrees now in Bemidji, 70 in Baudette, Roseau, and Langdon. Also 70 in Crookston, Wahpeton, and Fergus Falls. A couple degrees warmer than that, 72 here in Fargo. Winds light and variable, and they'll remain relatively light as we head through the day today, becoming southwesterly later on in the afternoon, around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Hardly a cloud in the sky once again, just a few fair weather cumulus possible as we head through the day today. And underneath what few clouds we do have, well, no precipitation, none anticipated today or tonight. However, that changes as we head through the day tomorrow. I'm going to show you the first 2 days of that 7-day forecast. Today, a gorgeous day. Tomorrow, not as nice. We'll have a chance for a few storms tomorrow, and some of those could be strong in the far southern valley. More storm chance to talk about as we head through the holiday weekend, and we'll detail that in just a few minutes.
Okay, thanks, Robert. Minnesota emergency officials say they have trained 5,700 first responders since 2014 on what to do in case of an oil train derailment and explosion. That training is now required for emergency responders in the state after a series of oil train explosions and fires around the country. Reporter Pat Kessler has more.
Up to 25 trains a day rumbling through Minnesota can carry up to 1 million gallons of volatile crude oil.
The braking system on a train is an air brake system.
That's why Minnesota first responders are taking rail safety training classes like this one in St. Paul. State officials say they've trained 5,700 first responders what to do if an oil train derails.
So we like to show them in a classroom setting what the worst case could possibly be, and then back down in their training so they feel comfortable when they have to respond.
Many communities are affected by this.
But the ranking Democrat on the House Transportation Committee says 375,000 Minnesotans live very close to the railroad tracks, and the state needs to do more.
More track inspectors, seeing if we can route the most dangerous materials around densely populated areas. These are things we need. So the training is important, but we really need to prevent these accidents from happening in the first place.
Burlington Northern, the largest rail carrier in Minnesota, says it spent $300 million for safety improvements in just the last year. And one top firefighter says his department is working closely with the railroads.
The rail has been transporting similarly dangerous materials, chemicals, poisonous gases for a long time, and you don't hear about it because they're very safe.
Amy Macbeth, the public affairs director for BNSF Railway, says the company has cut derailments on main lines by 50% in the last 10 years. It also reduces train speeds to 35 miles per hour in cities with populations of 100,000 or more. And it conducts daily inspections of crude oil rail lines.